Today's the day I gotta get this mess out of here so we can have access to all our firewood. So I'm gonna take the time today to split and stack it before our next adventure. All right, let's make short work of this best we can. Made it back. And this is another wonderful trip. We did have one hiccup on this trip. I'll tell you that in a minute. I need to finish this wood pile. Like I told you maybe on the last video, that I got half of it split and stacked. Well, probably a little bit more than half. I have it all right here. I just need to finish this up. I don't like doing this stuff, but it has to be done. This wood is also in my way, so I'm gonna finish that today. I'm gonna do some more tree trim and things like that. Homestead stuff! The hiccup. Oh yeah, the hiccup. Well, on the way home from our camping trip yesterday, I noticed that on the Kodiak truck, I'm always monitoring that dashboard because it's a used truck. It's 2005 truck, right? It has over 100,000 miles on it, so I'm always cognizant of, you know, my gauges on the dashboard. And I noticed, I looked down and there's this orange light and you're like, oh no, here we go again, right? And yeah. Well, it was the oil, you know, picture of an oil can with the wrench on it. So at first I was like, oh no, that's the worst possible case scenario, your oil light come on, right? But as I turned it off, I noticed there's two oil lights. There's a regular oil light, and then there's an oil light with a wrench symbol on it. So once I noticed that, I became less concerned. So I checked the oil, and sure enough, it was low on oil, so I assumed that that light came on because it was low on oil, not because the oil pressure was low. Big difference. So, like I say, I checked the oil and it was 2 quarts low, but it was still right on that safe line. So I think it was just trying to tell me something. It's good to know that that works, right? Yes, it is. So I called my mechanic, who answered the phone. It was great. And he said, bring it in, bring it in. So I brought it in and they gave me 2 free quarts of oil. This was a $40 value, right? These days, 2 quarts of oil. It was the heavy duty diesel, 1540 oil. I don't know how much it was, probably less than that, but doesn't matter. So a Duramax diesel takes 10 quarts and then some take 13 quarts and, you know, others, heavier duty trucks take possibly more, right? So obviously that the last time I had the oil change, they shorted me another 2 quarts of oil. This happened once before. So I don't know. No harm, no foul. You know, the truck still, the oil pump's still gonna put oil through the truck, right? I think oil goes through the truck probably 3 to 4 quarts at all times. It's pumping through the truck. So I guess the worst possible case scenario is that I change the oil sooner than later. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We got that situation rectified. And I think my truck takes a little more oil than most Duramax diesels. Let's just say that. But they're going to look into that and let me know. Like I said, no harm, no foul. Everything's fine. Everything's back to normal. But I did learn how to reset my oil light pretty quickly. You turn the truck off, you turn the key on without starting the truck, you pump the accelerator pedal 3 times, you turn the truck back off, that resets the light. Or you put oil back in it, and that resets the light too. So it's nice to know that that works. Anyway, getting back to where I was. I don't want to be short of wood, so I've been splitting this wood. And I'm going to finish this pile, hopefully today, definitely by tomorrow. And I want to keep trimming more trees. Now that I have a pole saw, I'm trying to play catch up. You know, I'm learning about the pole saw. So I'm going to go around. I've already trimmed this oak tree up significantly. But I really do want to get a couple more branches down off of this and several other trees. Anyway, it's a work day. Today's a work day, a homestead day. So between adventures, I need to work. So let's get started.
The season's coming to an end, and I'll walk you around the gardens to show you what's left in the gardens. I've been hard at work pulling a lot of the plants. You can see how tall this fennel gets when it goes to seed. The zucchini plants are all but 2 are gone. I'll leave those in, but right before the first frost or real cold weather, I'll pull them. It's just a lot easier to pull them when they're not all mucky from, you know, dying from the frost or the super cold weather. But we got our fair share. Got lots of pumpkins. I'll get those cut off right before the frost as well. I have no idea what this pumpkin is. These were all supposed to be the same pumpkins. Some rogue seeds must have got in one of the little baggies. They're supposed to be just pipe pumpkins, just orange like that one right there. The thing I miss the most out of gardening, other than always getting out into the sunshine and weather, is once my flowers die. They're just so pretty to look at. Carrots, we talked about picking them. Turnips are a good cool weather vegetable. We had a pretty significant rain yesterday, so they're kind of flattened out. Still going to seed here in my oak leaf. These are scallions or green onions. I got to get those out, but we had so many onions, I just kind of forgot about them. That's what sometimes happens. You get so busy canning and what have you. Got all the potatoes, and I'll show you our harvest. That's always not a fun chore because I do the system where I plant them in the ground about 4 to 5 to 6 inches and then put hay on or straw on top, and then you got to dig them up. But we had a pretty good harvest this year. I transplanted some, this was a couple weeks ago, some of the butterfly weed and some of the hyssops, so I hope they'll take next year and kind of crowd in this area because I usually don't plant next to this fence. Once everything pretty much dies, that's when we'll take these darn plum trees down. I went ahead and topped them off to make it easier to move them and hopefully just yank them out, cut them up and get them out, but they're just invasive. As you can see, that's all that grows here. So next year, this whole garden will probably, other than the flowers, lay fallow, and I'm going to put a bunch of compost on, and I hope next year I can get all these suckers out. That way I can have a nice area without the intrusion of those plum tree suckers. So that's pretty much it. You know, it's the end of the season, not a lot to see. Days are getting shorter. Plants know it. They're starting to wither away. I got a huge zucchini off of the zucchini plant. This is the second one I left in. I'll show it to you, it's huge. They just hide in plain sight underneath a leaf. You look, and you don't see anything. And so the flowers are starting to wither, as I said, kind of sad. I'm gonna still I did it over here, but I got to get those seed heads off the oregano for sure this year. I did do a good job here getting this oregano chopped down, but this one's so much easier because I can not have to walk into it to chop them off, because they will reseed heavily, as these foxgloves are doing. They are going to be everywhere, which is fine by me. I'm just letting them reseed themselves and see what they do. So that's pretty much it for the greenhouse garden. Glad's like the cool weather as well. Here's that lost and found zucchini. It's long as my arm. I'm going to bring this to a friend's house for their chickens. Chickens love them. Just like cleaning up the gardens, we got to start cleaning up these garages again and get ready for winter. What I'm doing after I harvest my potatoes, I sit them in this garage, let them cure. So that way the skin gets tougher and they'll last longer in storage. And then I'll wipe, once they're cured good enough for several weeks, I'll rub off the dirt. But yeah, good harvest. And I put this blanket on it so they won't turn green. Winding down here in the well garden as well. I got to cut these off. I miss those. These false indigo well really weed themselves. But they are pretty in a display of flowers, like a dry display of dried flowers. Cut down the hollyhock. I laid them on here. I'm hoping they'll reseed themselves. I did that on both sides. If they don't, they don't. I'll just get rid of that next year. Hollyhocks will bloom the first year if they are planted early enough, most of the time. This is where all the large tomatoes were, the Cherokee purple and the ruby German greens. So I just picked all the tomatoes that looked like they could be used for something. Now, one thing about heirloom tomatoes, all tomatoes, if you get a lot of rain or too much, they kind of grow too fast, so they split. But most of the time, they will callus themselves over. You just cut them parts off. But yeah, so this is a good feeling when I got this done yesterday. Here's the German greens. I did the green beans. I picked the green beans many weeks ago. And what I did was I kind of just threw the plants on top, kind of as like a compost. They weren't diseased, and to keep the weeds down for a while. So I'll pick that up here when I clean up the garden. This Kennebec potato, the volunteer from last year, I'll get that out of here. This is a big red cherry tomatoes. I need to get them out of here. I'll just pick the red ones and throw the whole plant in the woods, and they'll continue to ripen, and the squirrels and stuff can eat them. Tomatillos. I'm done with tomatillos. I'll pick the best ones I can. There are some on the ground, but I've already used enough of what I need, and I made a lot of salsa out of them. I'm also going to make some for the freezer, the tomatillo salsa. So there you can see, if you lived in a good climate, not a good climate because we consider ours a good climate, but these could be considered perennial, just like peppers, if like deep south, because they love the heat. They just will keep growing and growing. But yeah, here we go. My glads are still blooming over there in the corner. Bumblebees are still hard at work, getting fat for the dormant season. That's our main pollinator up here, are the bumblebees. I like them. Every now and again I'll see a honeybee. Although the honeybees are a little bit better at pollinating. But that's okay. We'll take what we can get. You can see the grapes are now ripe, most of them on each bunch. So those are coming off the vines today. Once they start, it goes fast. Seems like it takes forever, but seems like overnight, bam, you start getting fruit drop or getting overripe. So you've got to keep an eye on things this time of year. They're such a beautiful purple. All the ripe elderberries are going to be coming off again. I don't know if I mentioned before, but you can see they're dropping fruit just as I touch them. Or is that just water? Oh, yep, fruit too. You need a male and a female to get pollination. Mine are Adam and York. I love that. Very patriotic sounding. Got a couple of potatoes laid on the ground because they're totally green, so I'm thinking about planting them and in an area, and that way I have some more potatoes, because they do come back typically every year if you miss them, as you can see with the volunteer potato at the well garden. Do that here in the orchard garden. Got one ripe spaghetti squash and 2 that need to continue to grow. If we do get a freeze before they're not, ripe, I'll go ahead and cover them, because I want those to be. That's what you see. It looks like it's Halloween during October, because everybody puts blankets or something to cover up their vegetables to extend the harvest. A lot of them, they're white, so they look like they're little ghosts laying on the ground. Almost done with the blueberries. Got a handful left. I get about, a handful every day, but there's not much left on the shrubs. I'll be glad to finish that project. It's kind of nice that they don't ripen all at once, especially in times of no refrigeration. You get a handful of berries every day, you get some vitamin C or whatever. So it's kind of a good thing. Even though for us who have to harvest, it'd be nice to get them done all at once. Other than the spaghetti squash, got a handful of peppers growing again. Got jalapeno, serrano, and I think I mentioned before, I think those are either Hungarian or banana peppers. But I'm not letting them mature, so these will be done here in about a week, and I'll just pull the plants, be done with them. And that's pretty much it going on here in the gardens. Not a lot right now. And that's good, because it's the end of the season. Can't wait to start gardening, can't wait to finish gardening, it seems.
Yeah, they're all nice and stacked. We got enough wood for the winter, this winter. This is the most important winter to have enough wood. So I feel pretty good about that. Trying to get everything done before our next adventure. I'm going to use my Echo CS310, which is basically a pruning chainsaw, to cut all this up so I can drag it out of here. But that's opening it up real nice, I think. I like it. I got a long ways to go yet. I'm recharging the battery for my pole saw. Got a bunch of sawdust in my beard. That's what happens when you break your own rules. I've been sawing around here all day long, and I just had the finesse. I thought I was good. I had the finesse. I'm not going to pinch my chain in the tree. Not going to do it because I had the finesse, and I didn't follow the rules to make 3 cuts. Now I got to climb the ladder to get my pole saw out. Hey, that's the way it goes. So Not a big deal. See y'all later.